Hi everybody, I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. Thank you for joining us today for our regular Q&A, taking questions about U.S. immigration for general education purposes and filling you in on what's going on because there's just so much going on in this U.S. immigration system that's kind of confusing. So we try to help everyone out by just giving general guidance here. It is, May 18th today, 2022. A lot going on in immigration space, a lot of news happening, a lot of good stuff, but it just each case is always so different and there's always so many challenges. And we'll talk about examples of things that are happening. We're live on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, both our YouTube pages, JQK regular and the clips page. We're gonna be changing the name for our page to US Immigration Talk, so people have a better understanding what we're doing over here. But having said that, if you're watching the live show and you want to get a free consultation, we do provide a service where it's a raffle. It's just like a lottery system essentially. Every 10 minutes, we have three total 15-minute free video consultations. So at the 10-minute mark, 20-minute mark, and 30-minute mark of our chat today, if you click like and subscribe wherever you're watching this and write consultation in the comment section, my wonderful assistant will choose someone. Katrina will choose somebody in the 10-minute mark, 20 mark, 30 mark, and I'll announce it so they can get a free video consultation. And then along with that, if you're interested in learning about the marriage or fiance visa case, what's going on with that? What is that about? What you got to do is download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide at going to this website, marriageimmigrationlaw.com. That's marriageimmigrationlaw.com. It's the best free resource out there. It really breaks down the process, the forms, all that kind of stuff. So it'd be a good idea what's going on. Plus links to all the detailed videos I did on each one. So it's like a functional ebook guide where you read it and you push video and it presses breakdown. It tells you what you need to do essentially. A lot of people who hire me are like, I couldn't believe you gave away all this information like just for free like that. I'm like, yeah, we're here to help. That's the primary mission statement, is to help people, all across the world. So it fits within our mission. Also, along with that mission is we have a regular Friday seminar, 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. For next couple weeks, it's going to be about the EB-1A Extraordinary Ability Green Card. These are people who are in the top levels of their field. They can get a green card, a relatively fast one called the EB-1A Extraordinary Ability Green Card. We're having a seminar called the EB-1A Extraordinary Playbook. So we break down the A to Z of the process, what it's about, what you need to show, and all that stuff that's going on. And so it's a really vital thing that you could you should join and get involved with for yourself or for people that could potentially apply for that too. To get the registration info or just a login info, email me at info@jqklaw.com. We're going to be doing it for the rest of this quarter, so you could definitely tune in. Just Fridays, 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. Definitely catch that. And with that, let's get the show started. All right, so one of our first questions, Vikas asks, hey, John, any progress on F2A? How fast are cases going for interview? It really depends on your local field office or the embassy that you're dealing with. Some field offices will be faster, like in Los Angeles, they're caught up. We're getting marriage cases done in 2 or 3 months. That's crazy. Let's say 3 or 4 months, frankly, but it's wild. But then again, I had an F2A case in San Francisco. It took about 13 months to get to the end. And I have other ones in San Francisco pending. So in San Diego, it took 10 months recently. I had an F2A adjustment of status case. And to do with the embassy, it depends on which embassy you're looking at. Some of them will be faster and some will be slower, just depending on processing in your individual case. So that's the reality of it. Anything else is not going to be good. If that's the actual information, that's what you're asking for. Nothing else different. It's out of our control. It really depends on where you're processing, which is based on usually your residence, and then luck. So you might have 9 cases that are done in 6 months or 4 months or whatever. And then this one-off case will take 2 years or 3 years and stuff. So that's the way it is. Now, if you have a standalone I-130 for an F2A, those are taking extended amounts of time. I had a person who's a Q&A watcher who got a consultation on the free video raffles, and he had submitted his case and got an I-130 F2A approved in 3 months. That's extraordinary. And so I was like, wow, that's great. But he had made a mistake on it, which to fix it was going to take another year now. So unfortunately, because he followed his own and didn't read every single line, didn't understand a portion of it, in particular with regard to the question when they asked where you're processing your case, he said, I'm doing adjustment of status, and listed the city he's in instead of listing the embassy that his spouse, in the country his spouse was living in. And so he got stuck and he has to do a form I-24 or refile an I-130. Got really messy, but it's so random how long these things take. It's really inconsistent. Because let's follow up and ask, hey, John, my social state work with DHS authorization only. When I was a student as F1, I got my C9. Do I need to replace Social Security states and restrictions? You don't necessarily have to, but when you do get your green card, this is an important question. I'll rephrase it for those just tuning in. When someone gets a green card, they'll get a social security number that just has a number on it. But if you previously had work authorization, and that work authorization was based on like some sort of work permit or something like that, an H-1B or a OPT EAD, that will list, Social Security has DHS restrictions, Department of Homeland Security restrictions. And so that means like they can't just work anywhere. It's limited to what's allowed based on their work authorization and the timing of the work authorization. So it's a way of letting employers know that don't just hire this person, need some extra paperwork. Now, once you get your green card, those restrictions don't apply. The same social security number works for you wherever you go, but it's better to contact the Social Security office and update it because you might find an employer, you go to talk with them, and they don't understand what those restrictions are. And it creates hassle with the HR, the human resources, or the hiring department of that company. So why deal with that? When you do get a green card, contact the local Social Security office, get a new card, and that way you'll probably have to show your green card to show that you're a green card holder. But that way you don't have to deal with it later if you change jobs and they see the restrictions, they're confused. Why give them that and delay getting the job or creating further hassle for yourself? So yeah, it's good to get a new one. Thank you for the questions, Becca. All right, so let's go back. Asif asked, hey, I submitted my I-360 3 months ago and didn't get an auto reply. Is it normal? You don't get an auto reply when you do an I-360. You will get a receipt. If you haven't got a receipt in 3 months, you should contact USCIS, call the number, and see what's going on. Depends on what kind of I-360 you have. On the VAWA-based I-360, it's difficult to get a hold of them. My office doesn't handle VAWA, but so I'm not dealing with it every day or something like that. But because of the privacy issues, sometimes it's difficult to get them to give information on that. I want to switch through Instagram really quick to see if I have any questions here. Oruz asking for my son, after filing Form I-485 adjustment of status, it's been a long time. If he quits after receive his green card, is it a violation? Let's say he works 9 months to 1 year. I think what you're asking about, your son got his green card through employment, an employer hired him, and he's working that job. Does he have to continue working at a job? So the basic law in the United States is you don't have to continue working everywhere just because someone got your green card. It's not slavery. But, USCIS may later on, when they apply for citizenship, question whether that job was real or not, or was a fake job just to get a green card because you left. And so you got to have a story to tell and see what the situation is. I can't tell you exactly what it is because I don't know the details of your case. I got to see the work history. It was consular processing, or they had an H-1B, so they may have been stuck here working for this company for 5 years, and they found a job that pays better. I just need to know more details of what argument you would have, but you got to keep in mind, at the end of the day, it's up to a USCIS officer what they think, so it doesn't matter what I think. But based on experience, I can tell you if this makes sense or not, what arguments you have. So that's something that's too case specific. I would need to talk to your son as to whether he should leave his job or when he should leave his job if he got his green card through employment. Some lawyers are really strict. They say 6 months or 1 year minimum you wait. I'm not. I believe in freedom. If someone doesn't like where they're working, they get another job offer that's going to pay them a lot more money. Sometimes these people, for example, they're still from India. They come on H-1B, they're working for a company for 10 years, 15 years until they get their green card because of the backlogs. And by the time they get their green card, if they just switch jobs, they could double. They're getting paid $100,000, they get paid $200,000. You get paid $150,000, another job paid $300,000. So it's like, why would you not? It doesn't make any sense. They paid their dues. They work for this company. They're not bonded to them. They're not. It's not indentured servitude or slavery. Those days are over. So I don't think USCIS is appropriate if they want to hassle you, but you got to be able to explain it. Say, hey, I got a better paying job. What do you want me to do? That's just the way it is. It's how the market is. And that's my answer to that question. So let's go back to other questions. AG asked, what should you answer if they ask what you do for work and that you had left the job around the same time your I-130 was approved and have not worked since? I can't tell you what to answer. You answer whatever the truth is. Whether the truth is going to be harmful or not, I don't know. This is all too case specific. I can't tell you what you should answer on something like that. My typical answer, general answer is tell the truth. Now, I don't know that the truth is going to hurt you or not. That's something you require a private consultation on. Thank you for your question. Joda A350 on regulars. Good to see you. It says, hi, Sir John. Been a while, just popping in. Was busy with finals. Is it okay to sign a lease on a B1, B2? Well, maybe not. That's an interesting question. So when someone's on a B1, B2 visa, they're saying, I'm coming here for tourist purposes. And if they sign a lease agreement, that means renting a house. That's kind of weird. It's like, well, if you're coming for tourist purposes, why are you signing a lease? So, a typical B1, B2 is for 6 months, and you can stay here for 6 months. So maybe if you sign a 6 month lease, it kind of makes sense. I have a client right now who's had a lease here and just comes and goes for fun. He's a rich guy. And so he wanted a place here because they didn't want to stay at a hotel. That made sense, and they were okay with it. So I can't say 100% what's okay or not. It depends on the facts. but we got to see what's going on. But it's not a typical thing people do, so you have to have an explanation as to why you would go and sign a lease. Now, for example, if you the State Department updated its rules a couple years ago during Trump's time with very, to me, it's an ignorant rule, but they say that, if you come to the United States on a tourist visa, get married, and sign a lease with your spouse, that's an indication that you really intend to stay in the United States and not be a tourist. They consider that fraud. Now, what it sucks is because when we're doing a marriage case, you want to have evidence that you joined financial stuff together. And one of them is having a joint home or a lease agreement. USCIS wants to see that. So in that, so we get these joint. So it contradicts each other. They want to see lease agreements at USCIS side, but DOS, Department of State, the embassies might accuse you of fraud for doing that. It doesn't make any sense. So we really have to look at this on a case-by-case basis to see if it looks good, looks bad, or how that all is. So just keep an eye on that. There's no exact answer. It's really fact-based. We have to see what's going on in your circumstances. Facebook user asks, good day, sir, watching from California. Good to see you. How can we contact you? I want to petition my two daughters, ages 23 and 24 years old. Just send me an email. We'll schedule a private consultation where I talk with you and your daughters by video. Email is info@jqqlaw.com. Please do apply, but email us and either talk to me or my associate Anya, and we could get into it. But it's going to take a while because they're above the age of 21. If you're a U.S. citizen or a green card holder, you can file for them. If you're a green card holder, they have to be single, unmarried. If you're a citizen, you can file. Probably going to take 8 to 10 years, something like that. So there's a built-in delay in that process. Sue asks, hey, John, I'm documentary qualified. That's at the National Visa Center, green card through the embassy since February 17, 2022. My interview will be in Montreal, Canada. How long do you think I should wait for an interview? Canada's been, after COVID, been pretty slow. So it was taking about 10 or 11 months after being DQ or documentary qualified. So you can expect to be stuck till the end of the year, but things may get faster. It might be faster. So it's all over the place, but realistically, I'll probably say end of the year based on semi-recent experience on that. Let me check to see if you have any people on Instagram asking questions. We got one from Terry asks, I got my green card, my 2-year green card 2018. Since 2021, they scheduled an interview for my 10-year green card, but haven't heard from USCIS. Can I apply for citizenship in December? So this is a typical question I get. Not a lot of videos on this, but for those who get married and get their green card, if the marriage is rather new, the green card that is issued is only valid for 2 years. And the reason is because they want to test you again to make sure this was not a fake relationship. So at 2 years, when it passed, after getting the green card, you have to file another application. And that second application called Form I-751 takes forever. Right now, 1, 2, or 3 years, something like that. While it's pending, if you've been married and living with the U.S. citizen, you satisfy the other citizenship requirements in the United States, you can file for U.S. citizenship. And so I usually do that in cases. So if an I-751 is pending, and the time comes to file for citizenship, I always do it immediately because it pushes the case forward. And many times they'll schedule the citizenship interview, and at the citizenship interview, they'll do the processing for the I-751 at the same time, get it out of the way. It's the proper way to do it. Now, you'll go online. You may find other videos, other lawyers that say you cannot file Form N-400 for citizenship while you have an I-751 pending. That is incorrect. It's just like a regular thing processing I do cases throughout the country. So that information is incorrect if you run into that. But thank you for your question. All right, Vakas asks again another question. What kind of job can I do based on a C9 category? Does it have to be related to IT as I was a student before? So if you're doing a C9, this is a EAD. This is a work permit based on having a green card application pending. You could do any job, but again, it depends actually on what your basis of your green card is. So I can't remember the rest of your question. For example, if you had a work-based I-140 and you're doing portability, it has to be a same or similar field. But if it's I-130, a family-based, you can do whatever kind of job you want to do. So it gets kind of nuanced. You gotta always be careful with this legal stuff because there's always like a small exception, and this person might fall within that, so the information I give might not be correct. So actually, Vikas or Vikas, you are a raffle winner. If you'd like, take a screenshot of where you're watching this so I can see your username. Email it to me at info@jqqlaw.com, and we'll schedule a private consultation, get the exact details of your case, so I'm not giving generic information like I am here, or just broad information that could be different for a lot of people. For those just tuning in, we give away free video consultations. All you gotta do is watch and like, subscribe, and write consultation in the comment section wherever you're watching this. And my wonderful assistant Katrina will name somebody in 10 minutes, another in 20, give out free video consultations, 15 minutes. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So follow up on that. If you're interested in a marriage-based green card, all you gotta do is to study what's going on, learn for yourself, help yourself. go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com, download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. Has tons of 40 plus pages, practice questions, translation certificates, blah, blah, blah. A lot of stuff, video links to take you to a video that explain further, 10, 20-minute videos breaking down each step. It's so many people have told me that it saved them. So it's very helpful. Also, if you're interested in the EB1A Extraordinary Ability Green Card, these are people that are top their field. Come and watch the EB1A playbook. A special seminar we have where we break down the A to Z of the immigration process for an EB1A Extraordinary Ability Green Card. 10:30 a.m. Pacific time is a private seminar, but all you got to do to join is to email me and ask that you want to join, and I'll give you the link to join. So with that, let's take some next questions. Suze follows up, is any one of your clients have an interview in Montreal recently? How long does your wait? No, so last in Montreal case I had was probably like a year ago or something like that. Most of the time people in Canada are already here and they just status. User 93 asks, can a U.S. citizen travel to Mexico by car and get back to the U.S. using a valid California driver's license? You have to have a U.S. citizen. I mean, you can leave by car, but you can fly, for flying back, you need to have the rule is that you have a proper travel document. So you don't want to leave without evidence of having a U.S. citizenship, particular passport, which is a travel document. So it's not recommended to do something like that. You could probably end up getting in. The port authorities will probably let you in. You may have a tough time boarding the airplane, but I just can't recommend that because the regulations do say in the Code of Federal Regulations that you have to have a proper travel document to be able to enter the United States. A C user, one of our regulars, comments a lot. Thank you, C. Good to see you. Says hi, Attorney Construct. Good to see you. Mansour asks, hi, my parents had an immigration interview 2 months ago, but their case is still under administrative processing. Mansour, you have a Persian-sounding name, so I'm assuming you are from, your family's from Iran. Unfortunately, Iranian cases and a lot of other cases, like Russian cases now too, get stuck in a thing called administrative processing after they have their embassy interview. And it's a no man's land. It's a limbo. It just lingers and lingers. Could be years sometimes before you get a decision. So what's typical nowadays, and people could afford it, they file a lawsuit against the government for the delay around 6 months after the case is pending. And they, not always, that's guaranteed, but normally pushes the case forward to approval. AJ says, thank you, you're welcome. Third, Leon says, our request for expedite for the National Visa Center was approved by the U.S. Embassy from the 3rd of this month. I haven't heard anything from them. I don't know. My wife's in the hospital. I sent Embassy an emergency letter. Expedite request approved. How long do you normally take scheduling interviews in Jamaica? It's usually pretty fast. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not sure you prepped it or you can always contact them. I don't know all the details, but I am sorry that your wife's in the hospital. That's terrible news. But I don't know all the details and I haven't seen the paperwork. If it's really bad, you could always just email the embassy and ask, hey, what's going on? We have this emergency. But I don't know all this stuff. So that's that. I am Hoy says, hi, host. Good to see you. Can I change my visitor visa to permanent stay? That's a large question. It depends on your background. So it's not an answer. Some it's possible, some it's not. Most people, it's not possible. All right. So Alessandra says, hey, thank you, John, for everything you do. Thank you so much for our regulars. I'll send you up. Green Shades asks, my wife received her green card today. Congratulations. Wonderful news. Green Shades, have you been watching the show and have I helped in any way or have you used the ebook? Wonderful news to see that your wife got the green card. God bless. And, just keep an eye on the green card. Don't lose it. If an I-751 is required, make sure to file it in time. And, just congratulations. It's a big deal to get this done because it's so frustrating when you're dealing with this green card situation. But that's good news. Always happy to hear about success. Kim can ask, we are a newcomer to the United States, and so far we have not had any process, meaning IRC or any organization. I'm not sure what you're talking about, King. I'm sorry to hear that things aren't working out, but I'm not exactly sure what your question is. Mike Chen asks, my wife and I entered the U.S. approximately 3 weeks ago with immigrant visas. My wife has received her Social Security card 4 days ago, but I have not received mine as a normal. Unfortunately, there is no normal. The Social Security card sometimes comes after 2 weeks, sometimes comes after 8 months, sometimes doesn't come. You kind of have to go there and get it, but before you could get it, you got to get your green card. Green cards usually come after 3 weeks. Sometimes it takes months, 6 months, 9 months, a year. Sometimes it doesn't come at all. So that's a big issue. Now, when you do enter, you had an immigrant visa stamped in your passport with CBP stamps. That's technically evidence that you're a green card holder. So if your Social Security card doesn't come, in a month, go to the local office, show them your passport, show them you got a green card stamp approved by the port authorities, and they should issue it then. But there's no normal, unfortunately. Normal is 3 weeks, but it's like 50% of the time, especially after COVID, it got worse and worse. Mansoor follows up. My parents' case is in Islamabad. I'm from Afghanistan. How long do you think mission processing? So that's even worse than Iran. So I pretty much can't get worse than Iran. So it's pretty much saying and there's no answer to how long administrative processing can take. It could be endless. I've seen these cases to be 3 or 4 years until people file a lawsuit. So unfortunately, being an Afghan case as well, then it's not good. So I don't have it. There's nobody has an answer to your question. It's impossible to answer that. Just if you like, look into filing a lawsuit if it passes 6 months. User 937 asks, can you re-enter the country by car with an expired passport? So if you're a U.S. citizen, they probably won't check your passport. You're not supposed to. They could even fine you for that, but usually it's okay. But as a lawyer, I can't tell you to do something like that. So renew your passport. That's the proper thing to do. Ports usually just let it go, but they can hassle you. So I can't recommend coming to the United States with an expired passport. It depends on. I'm assuming you're a U.S. citizen. If you're a foreign citizen, then no, you're out of luck. But they can parole you in maybe, but that's a whole different situation. I don't know what kind of status you have, so I'm assuming you're a U.S. citizen. The way to answer that. Dwayne Shea asked, I went to my green card interview. My wife is an active member, but the USCIS officer did not proceed the interview. She rescheduled me till my wife is back in the country. What can I do? Assuming by active member you mean active duty military member, you should have brought their duty papers with you. I've never had that problem. They just waive the requirement that both of you be there, and they do the interview. It's usually pretty smooth. So I don't know your documents. I don't know what you said. But in these kind of cases, you want to complain to supervisor because they try to accommodate, well, allegedly, they try to accommodate military members if your spouse is an active duty military member. So that's surprising that they did that. You just kind of have to fight it and see what's going on. Which field office was it? And Dwayne, let me know. Did you tell them what papers did you show to prove your spouse active duty and stuff like that? They should know. It should be in paperwork, but let me know. It's interesting to see what that is. And you follow up. My wife, she'll be back in 18 months, 2 years. What steps should I do? You got to file a complaint with USCIS to say that's not appropriate, and that's that. All right, let me do a quick check on Instagram to see what kind of questions we see here. Oh, you got a bunch I didn't catch. So okay. So the next question, Instagram, Snorkel says, I'm a U.S. citizen. I filed my I-130 for my little sister, but she's turning 21 this year. She's unmarried, has a 4-year-old son. She's currently living in Philippines. How long is the process currently? I need to know more information, but for spouse, I have to look up the charts. There's a thing, go to Google, type in visa bulletin, and there'll be a category there. The first chart, go to F4 under Philippines and see what cases they're currently handling. That'll be an understand what's going on. But if you like Snorkel Doodle, my wonderful assistant Katrina just named you as our raffle winner. So if you want to have a private consultation about this, take a screenshot of wherever you're watching this. You're watching on Instagram, so I can see your username. Email it to me at info@jqklaw.com. And once I see that, I'll reply with information. We can talk about this privately to get more specific because I can't do that here. So I haven't checked the visa bulletin on. But it usually takes 15, 20 years. Philippines is more backed up than other places. Another question on Instagram. I have a pending marriage-based green card. Can I do a PhD on a C9 EAD and work on the side? So when you have the employment authorization, yeah, you could work. So that's no problem. If you're, you could probably go to school. If you're married to a U.S. citizen, I say go to school and work. It's all good. If you're married to a green card holder, going to school, it's considered a violation in some sense, but it's not really. So I'd be hesitant as an LPR to tell you to go to school if your spouse is a green card holder, LPR. But if your spouse is a U.S. citizen, yeah, go to school, work, whatever you want to do, should be fine, especially if you have your work authorization. I think we got one more question on Instagram. No, that's it. So let's go back to our other questions. We got a couple pop up. Mike Chen asking, if I were to get a driver's license with an admit stamp immigrant visa before I receive my green card, does it mean the driver's license will be only valid for 1 year since the immigrant visa is valid for 1 year? Probably. DMVs do whatever they want to do, and each officer is different. Each officer is different. So I don't have an exact answer because I've seen all variations of this. But assume that they're going to give you 1 year, they give you less. It's when you're dealing with the DMV, they do whatever they want to do. There's not always consistency in that. Allison asks, how would you know if USCIS updated your status from green card holder or citizen? There's no way to know. You'll have a naturalization certificate. That's how you know. Now, if you're talking about you have a pending I-130 or something like that, it's hard. You have to tell them and follow up and stuff like that. But if you did naturalize and you're talking about just generally, then they'll be in the system because you naturalized. Bukhar, how long been stay outside the United States with I-751 receipt? If you have a green card and you're filing for I-751 removal conditions, the same rule apply for that you have as a regular 2-year green card, 10-year green card, or whatever. You're not supposed to be living outside the United States. If you're outside more than 6 years, they can question you upon reentry. If you're outside for more than 1 year, they could say that they have the right to try to take away your green card and you challenge it in court. If you're absent multiple times of 5 months, it can hassle you, and then all these absences will be a problem for you becoming a citizen. So that's the general information. The same as it doesn't matter if it's I-751 or not. It's the same rules apply. All right, next question. Dwayne asked, it was El Paso, and yes, my wife gave me the order letter to carry in lots of evidence in marriage. Officer, take the order letter. She was scheduled to my wife in the country. So you need to challenge that. Contact your USCIS officer, district officer, supervisor, something like that, or contact your local congressperson. That's not typical operating procedure. They do have discretion to do whatever they want to do, but that's not appropriate. I mean, I've never had that happen for a military spouse case, and I handle those a lot. All right, we have a quick question on Instagram. My wife is in Iran. I'm a U.S. citizen born. We filed I-130 for her 8 months ago. What is the average time they send you notice for an interview? There's no average time for an Iranian case. It's probably going to take years. Hopefully, I mean, at least 1.5 to 2 years, but hopefully not more than that. But I've had Iranian cases take much longer. So there's no exact timeline especially for an Iranian case, but not for any case, but especially not for Iranian. Also, follows up, while I was a lawful permanent resident, I filed Form I-130 petition regarding relative on behalf of my spouse. Since filing the petition, I've naturalized to become a U.S. citizen. My spouse is not an immediate relative. I request that you update my petition accordingly. Well, I can't do it for you, but yeah, notify USCIS and then follow up with them, because there have been times where we have cases where the LPR became a citizen and we sent the naturalization certificate to USCIS to notify them because they're different departments. They don't pay attention to the other one. The left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing in these kind of cases. And even though we sent it, we called them up. They're like, no, we don't have evidence. Send it again. It took months and months. And then once they finally accepted that you naturalized and it's an immediate relative case, it didn't make a difference. Still took longer, and they processed it as a green card holder case. So it's just the way it is. It's a mess. Hop says, U.S. citizen, I want to file a green card visa for my parents and sister who is 14 years old. So there's a system. Now go to the JK Law Firm YouTube page and type in this fact pattern, filing for parent with minor children or something like that. Because if you're a citizen, you can file for your parents, but if you file, and that'll be done in 1 or 2 years, hopefully. But for your sibling, that's going to take 15 years or something like that. So it doesn't make sense at the age of 14. So one tactic, this is not individual legal guidance, but it's like, apply for your father. Once your father gets his green card, he files for his wife and child, and do it like that so the child get it faster, because you applying for your sister is going to take way too long. They can't come in with the same parent application. I also ask, this is what I mailed to them. I also upload certificates, but still, yeah. So with regard to citizenship, hopefully they get it. Vishu asks, I received a 10-year IR1 green card, though I entered the U.S. 1 month before my second wedding anniversary. Do I need to worry? You don't need to worry. But what happens is if your marriage is new, less than 2 years old when your green card is issued, it's supposed to be issued as a conditional green card, 2-year green card. Sometimes they make a mistake and issue a 10-year green card when they should have issued a 2-year green card. So it's something you have to notice. I'm glad you did. And notify USCIS if you want to get a correct green card. But really the important part is, regardless of the fact that it says it's a 10-year green card, you have to operate as if it's a 2. So when the removal of condition times comes, the 90-day window before the 2-year mark, you need to file Form I-751 and just do it and let them know that was an error in that application. Just important that you do that, because they'll hold it against you. Even though they made an error, if you miss the deadline for filing Form I-751, they'll put you in removal proceedings. Vishu, my wonderful assistant Katrina named you as our winner for our next raffle, actually. So thank you. Just take a screenshot where you're watching this, email it to me at info@jqqlaw.com, and we can have a private consultation. For those who are tuning in, we have a free consultations, 15 minutes, three a show every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. This was our 3rd one, but if you tune in next week, we'll have 3 more fresh ones. We can talk in private at no cost. Having said that, if you're interested in the marriage green card, download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. If you're interested in the EB-1A Extraordinary Ability Green Card, you want to join our seminar, the EB-1A Extraordinary Playbook, email me at info@jqqlaw.com, and I'll give you information on tuning in. It's Friday, 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. And with that, let's get 2 or 3 more questions, and we'll call it a day. Sai asks, I downgraded to EB-3 at a Texas Service Center in March 2021. The average time shows 14.5 months. It's 14 months. What do I do? Move file? There's nothing you can do. They don't look at timelines. Sorry, it's just there's nothing to do. Katiana asks, how long did it take for an I-130 to get approved for parents of U.S. citizens? 4 months, 10 months, 15 months. They're all over the place. And finally, Dwayne says, can I get a letter from my wife stating that she is overseas active duty to USCIS to let them know she will be out for 18 months? Do you think it's a good idea? Well, you have her orders, so that's it. You have the official orders. So USCIS has discretion, and if they don't want to accept it, you get a congressperson involved or a senator to push the issue with them to move it forward. But having a letter for it is worthless. They want to see the orders, and if you have that, you showed it, they didn't accept it. Well, that's a new issue now. But thank you everyone for coming. I'm sorry to hear that, Dwayne, to end on that note, but hopefully I'll be able to fight it and get this case done. Thank you everyone who joined the show. God bless you all, and we'll see you all soon. Now, Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. We'll be back next week. Check out the EB1A Extraordinary Playbook. We're talking about extraordinary ability visa. The EB1A seminar is really fun. We're doing it every Friday for next quarter. I think you have a good time. And until next week, God bless. Bye-bye.